Hello and good morning, Keysanity fans and Link to the Past fans. This is Karma. I'm joined by Korek, and we're here to watch WeightyWords.
Yeah, so WeightyWords and runnerwatcher, two great runners of this game. Runnerwatcher coming from an NMG background, picking up Rando. WeightyWords starting with Rando. Both runners starting here with the Uncle start. I expect to see a great race today. Just great runners, and I can't wait to see what we have.
So we already have a mirror from Link's house and 20 rupee tree pull for tier 1.
Yeah, some great early items. That mirror doesn't open up anything yet, but having it early before you get that Dark World access can really help out your routing.
Yeah, I love having it for clearing escape, especially if you got the tools for like checking Castle Tower or the basement chest. It just makes for, oh god, boots in the sink.
Yeah, so some really nice movement options coming together here. Both runners seem to be in sync, so this is going to be really interesting. I would imagine they're going to be in sync for a little while now, but we'll see when the next divergence happens and what they actually find here in Kakariko.
Yeah, it looks like they both play the exact... Okay, Lamp is in Bonk Rock. Is this just going to be the nicest seed in the world and we're just going to see like super fast times?
Well, we know better with Keysanity that you oftentimes get a lot of early items and then things start to dry up quickly. So this is going to be really nice as far as having the boots and the mirror for helping out the routing, but still could end up being a little trolly.
Well, the crab's not useful. Only heart drops. Ooh, there's a rod. That's ice rod, right?
It does look like an ice rod, so we'll have to see if Turtle Rock is required. If it's a crystal, then obviously we need to do Aga 1, but if it's a pendant, then we probably need to do it anyway, because this is Keysanity.
And Trinex is probably holding like GT Big Key or Bow or something crazy. Alright, just a heart container in the mushroom spot.
Yeah, so an interesting story about these runners. There was a Keysanity Daily a few weeks ago, but when Speed Gaming was hosting them, and 36 people in the race. runnerwatcher took second in that race, but WeightyWords took first. So I know both of these runners are probably ready and willing to put on a great show for us and really put in a good effort in this seed.
Weighty's definitely ahead in the money game now. He's got an extra tree pull in that runner decided to skip. These guys are 2-0 in the standings currently. And happy Valentine's Day to everybody in chat, because I see.
We do see a Swamp Palace big key, which is pretty much just a fetch quest inside of a dungeon.
And then again, it's our small key, which they don't really need unless they're going to be checking a lot of GT anyways. Power Glove.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, we're only at Blind's Hut, and we have logical access to the first two chests in Tower of Hera.
That is true. Alright, what's the back of the bar holding? A bee in a bottle. That's actually really nice because that allows them to eliminate Sick Kid instantly.
Yeah, that's pretty much the best place to find a bottle is at the vanilla spot there.
I bet the only thing they wish they had found in Kakariko is the flute. Because then you just eliminate everything but a blacksmith area on the first run.
Yeah, so the sync remains here. Our runners are still pretty much in sync. WeightyWords did get one extra tree pull, so he is a little bit behind.
And yes, there is a third person on our team this morning. And on tracking, we have Walter doing the tracking for both players. Another key to pod. That's 2 already, just out of Kakariko. So we may have to see early pod dips.
Yeah, we'll have to see. There are some seeds where you can put off pod until you have everything you need to complete it, and there are some seeds that make you go there to double dip and get your next progression. And runnerwatcher getting caught in a text loop here with the running guy.
Alright, what's the library? Because they can actually go ahead and collect this if it's something they want. And they ain't going to want 5 bomb increase. So we got 2 different views on the race game right here. One person's just running it, the other person's checking it. Now, WeightyWords is happy to check it because he do when he sees the piece of heart.
Yep. In Keysanity, a lot more runners will just go there without checking it first because just the chance of having a required item there is much higher, or maybe a quality item like a mail upgrade or something where you wouldn't go out of your way for it, but if it's right there, you're going to go pick it up. However, some runners still prefer to check first, and in this case, WeightyWords makes out.
Hey, we actually have route divergence. One's checking South Shore, the other one's checking back to Saint.
Yeah, but we saw a Turtle Rock small key in the dam and half magic in the back of Escape, so that's a really nice, convenient find, although there really isn't any magic items they have yet. Well, I spoke too soon because there is the fire rod in the drain dam.
So funny enough, the map he found in the back of Sanctuary was actually the T-Rock map. So we're gonna find out as
yeah, we will find out as soon as they have Dark World access whether or not we will need that ice rod.
here's my thing, when you see both rods like that and you're already starting to get keys, it makes me feel like T-Rock's required.
Yeah, it's really hard to have a seed where you don't have to at least dip into Turtle Rock, so we'll have to see, if it's a required clear or if it's just, the front half or anything else.
So, they found the Thieves Town Big Key and the Thieves Town map both in Mini Moldar.
Yeah, I guess all the dungeon items just got relocated here. Ooh, and WeightyWords took a death outside of Ice Rod Cave, so we'll have to see how he handles that, if he goes back soon or puts it off until last location.
Well, those crabs do 2 hearts of damage per hit on Green Mill, so I mean, they're dangerous, plus they have erratic movement. Like, kills them going up to the Ice Rock Cave himself.
Yeah, it's not uncommon at all to just have well, yeah, commentator's curse. Runner Watcher also taking a death outside Ice Rod Cave. So I doubt either one will go back until it's one of their last locations at this point.
I will go ahead and apologize in advance, chat. My push to talk on Discord has been acting up. I don't a little bit at the end of the sentences. It has been occurring for the past couple races.
So we did learn that the green pennant is Swamp Palace from Sarhashala. So even though both of our runners have access to several items on Death Mountain, what they're doing makes some sense in that they might be trying to find something that would let them do more while they're up there. If they found the hammer, they could go to East Death Mountain. If they found the Hera Big Key, they could get a couple more items out of Hera. There are a lot of things they could find that would allow them to be more efficient when they go up the mountain.
Well, there's the big key to Hera, first chest. You called that one. I don't know if I'd call that a commentator's curse, but that's a pretty good call. But yeah, hookshot or hammer would do the job.
Yeah, notably they don't have a way currently to kill Modorm, but that doesn't mean they won't by the time they get to him.
I mean, they could always, if they find hammer, of course, that'll do it. Any sword will do it. They have a lot of options. They have a lot of items to find up there. So it's not like they're in a great danger right now to find one. And I'm assuming if we gave them the big Hera key, there's something in there they need anyways. Because if we're not using Aga 1 for... So if we're using Aga 1 for Dark World access, we still need 2 swords or 1 sword in the cape, plus possibly the Moon Pearl, unless that's what we're missing. The other option is, we find Titan's Mitz or Moon Pearl, or Hammer and Moon Pearl.
And we're not missing the Moon Pearl anymore, because WeightyWords just found that in Eastern Palace as well.
Okay, so Eastern is loaded, is pretty much what we're looking at right now, as far as early game. So I'm assuming Runner Watcher is going to find little of nothing in the few items he can check. And the first 2 items are a map and 10 arrows.
Yeah, you generally like to get maps in Keysanity, but that one in Spectacle Rock Cave is a little bit out of the way, so he knows it's there. If he's doesn't know what the crystals are, he can always come back later, or he could grab it after his dip into Hera.
Yeah, like here's what I'm going to assume. I'm going to assume upstairs Hera has something, and I'm going to assume that Runner Watcher is going to be a little sad when he goes over to Eastern and immediately finds the key.
So that cape is interesting. It might actually send Runner Watcher to check the front of Hyrule Castle and the first chest in Aga Tower before he makes his way over to Eastern.
Like I said, now they're just a sword upgrade away from being able to do Aga 1. And a couple keys. They still do need the Castle Tower keys. Because we are doing Keysanity. I think chat would love a required Aga 1 seed for Dark World. Even though we're probably going to have a required Aga 1 seed for the Ice Rod anyways.
Yeah, we'll have to see. That Ice Rod certainly screams Aga 1, a pretty good probability anyway. However, you never know. Runner Watcher could actually find a weapon here, which when he actually makes his way back up to Hera, he could kill Moldorm. We don't know, but that cape could actually lead to their first weapon.
All right, we're actually seeing Front of Escape as well, which I think is something we haven't seen anybody check yet.
And since WeightyWords ended up having over 500 rupees, I think he's trying to get Ice Rod Cave since he missed it, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him fake flipper to Zora after this check.
So here's my view on this. I like fake flippering if I have the moon pearl this early.
Yeah, and since he found that in Eastern Palace, he will be able to check those extra chests.
Yeah, because for those in chat who don't know, if you have the moon pearl, you can perform a water walking glitch on top of the fake flippers, which lets you check 2 additional chests up in the Zora area. You pretty much will be able to get everything but the ledge item, which, you know, just eliminates a lot of different items, plus you can see what you're missing. So it's a lot of information. Now, that is all what we call sequence breaks that are not in the logic, but... Ooh, I don't think I've seen that water walk before, have you?
Yeah, so you set that up by running or dashing along the edge of a pit. So when WeightyWords exited Ice Rod Cave, he went off to the side and dashed along the pit and let the game correct himself to the doorway, and that sets up the water walk. If you jump down off of a ledge into the water, you'll be walking on water, and it will allow you to dash.
Nice. I don't think I've actually seen that one in play yet.
Unfortunately, Runner Watcher's check of the front of escape has come up empty so far. He does still have the first chest in Aga Tower, which he is going to check now, but otherwise, not too much in the chest that he's opened so far.
Oh, he is going to go check the first Castle Tower chest on Runner Watcher's side, which is not bad. He already has Fire Rod and Half Magic, so I mean everything's going to go down fairly fast. And the flippers. Everything WeightyWords is doing was not required. Because now it's in the logic.
Yeah, now we see the book over there on the Zora ledge. So when Runner Watcher makes his way over there, which he probably will be right now, he'll be able to grab that book. And with what they currently have, they can grab the torch item, the desert ledge item, and 1 chest in desert. So this could be the next play.
I always like seeds that lead you in that round trip around Light World Hyrule at the beginning.
Yeah, and WeightyWords continues to clear up the lower Hyrule before going up Death Mountain, and as such doesn't have the cape yet, so will not yet be getting those flippers.
It's not really feeling silly, so there's a lot of times when the sequence breaking pays off. Like flippers were in Dark World somewhere. I mean, that's a major advantage to him for doing the sequence break. But sometimes your sequence break just doesn't pay off.
Yeah, and it's worth pointing out, Zora himself is not a sequence break for WeightyWords. Zora is completely in logic with gloves, so he was doing a check that was within logic and also routing in some sequence breaks with it. So it's not really, you can't really view it as a full-on sequence break.
Is my mic still cutting out a bit, chat?
Yeah, I think it is a little bit, but Runner Watcher is grabbing that book, so the next place seems to be desert at this point.
I mean, it's either that or it's the upper floors of Hera. One of the two has to hold the next answer. Because remember, Runner Watcher didn't have the big Hera key. So we haven't seen the upstairs floors yet.
So what's kind of funny is WeightyWords got that Hera big key, and it will allow him to do more on Death Mountain, but at the same time, it's keeping him away from there because he really wants to find a sword or a hammer if one is available before going up, so he doesn't have to double dip Hera. And our first check of Agina's cave comes up with just a heart container. Nobody's ever going to be upset about finding a heart container, but it's really not what they're looking for.
I don't think I'm ever upset about finding one early. I always like to get around, 8, 9 hearts before Dark World, especially. Ooh, Hookshot is on Desert Ledge.
Yeah, so that will open up East Death Mountain. That will give them 8 chests.
Yeah, so Gamer Cal's got it right. I'd be upset if I already had like 12 hearts in Red Mill finding a heart container. But, early game Green Mill, like when you're trying to first get your health pool together before Dark World.
Runner Watcher doing a nice bonk over the enemy there. I don't even know the name of what the official name of them, but that's a really nice bonk. So nothing good accessible in Desert itself, but that hookshot is pretty huge.
Yeah, Hookshot gives all of Eastern Death Mountain access, which I'm curious which one's going to pay off more. Like, he's probably going to go straight there.
Yep, and we got a map check on WeightyWords side, and Turtle Rock is a pendant.
T-Rock being a pendant, so that slightly lessens the Aga 1 seed. Slightly. Trinex has to be required at this point for them to even want to touch Aghanim 1.
I mean, if I was running this seed personally, I would almost want Turtle Rock to be a crystal, because otherwise that could be the trolliest fetch quest of all.
I almost think the trolliest thing they got going on right now is, by logic, it wanted them to go up to Hera, get the cape, go back down to Aghanim's tower, get the flippers, and then go get the book for Desert for the hookshot to go back up the mountain.
Yeah, we'll have to see if WeightyWords actually finds a weapon here in the next 2 chests. If he does, then maybe the seed actually has different paths to everything. And there's a Castle Tower small key, so that opens up the second chest. So we might be in a full troll mode here.
I'm waiting until they find that second one. Once they find that second Castle Tower small key, yeah. Nope, that was a small key, but it was pod. Alright, so the upstairs of... There really wasn't nothing.
Nope, no extra progression, so it's either that second chest in Aga Tower, or, well, that might be it.
Did Runner Watcher check Aghanis Cave when he was over there?
He did. That was the heart container. So it's Spiral Cave or the second chest in Aga Tower, possibly? So I
Yeah.
would actually expect Runner Watcher to do Eastern before going back to Aga Tower for one more chest, but we'll have to see. But no, he's making the play on that last chest, so it's gonna work out. I think. I don't know where else the progression could be.
As of right now, yes, it's a double Aga Tower dip. Very well could possibly be a third. And see, I'm amazed Runner Watcher's doing this though, because Runner Watcher hasn't been to Eastern.
We know that he will need to go there before having Dark World access. However, it could be the case that he is just trying to avoid a double dip, and if he gets what his required progression is here, he might have been able to do that. But we know that he will have to double dip Eastern.
What if this is the second? What if this is vanilla Castle Tower key in the second chest?
Well, they don't have a sword yet, so I don't think it can be at this point.
That's true. It could be a sword to take them back up to beat Moldorm.
That is a possibility. It could be an item to beat Moldorm. It could be a hammer, which would allow them to beat Moldorm, but more importantly, would give Dark World access. And then there it is.
You do know they're about to say burn the witch on you again, right?
Right. So Runner Watcher will have to go to Eastern to get his Moon Pearl. I don't expect that he'll backtrack to the Death Mountain to finish Hera until he does some Dark World, because they have that mirror. They can explore quite a bit now.
God, so this is a required double dip already of Aga Tower. Could be a required triple dip if they have to get Ice Rod. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so what we were saying earlier, like don't jump the gun on Jet Seeds. Getting those early boots and the early mirror is nice, but we had to like double dip Death Mountain and Aga Tower. This has been crazy.
By the way, our tracker said the next time you say something's going to be in a chest, he's just going to go ahead and mark it for the player. You have called like 4 back-to-back chests, so I don't blame him.
Well, you know, you play enough of these and you can kind of see what's coming sometimes, and then other times you think you see what's coming and it completely throws you off.
Yeah, so in to what you were saying, as far as this being a fast seed, I agree with you. I don't think it has to be a fast seed. It could be that sword ends up being an issue because they do need 2 swords before they can do Ganon.
We're a long way from any sort of go mode. The good thing is these runners are both really good at Keysanity and Link's Past Randomizer. So even if it's a trolley seed, I think it'll be one of a faster seed in that regard.
All right, so Runner Watcher gets his Dark World access. Now this is going to be kind of funny. Well, WeightyWords do the exact same thing. So WeightyWords has got to go to Desert, get the hook shot, and then has to go back up to Death Mountain to get the Castle Tower key, to come back to Aghanim's Tower to get the hammer. Don't you guys just love the logic in this game?
It'll be interesting to see how our runners handle this, because they have that early Fire Rod, so you're thinking, oh, I can go kill Mothula early, but you need that sword, so they might try to clear up as much as they can before they check Skullwoods, whereas a lot of people want to go there first. But Runner Watcher is starting his Dark World with a check of Hype Cave.
The cave formerly known as Hype. I'd be happy to see this be a Hype Cave, but I mean, I haven't seen a actual good Hype Cave in a long while.
Well,
the other small key to Castle Tower was the only thing in there.
If they if they really want that ice rod, they can get it as soon as they find a sword.
Oh, that one actually makes me laugh a little. I like that one.
Yep, and Runner Watcher going to talk to the bomb shop merchant to find out what crystals 5 and 6 are, and we find out that it's Misery Mire and Eastern Palace.
That's not bad. I mean, oh, we already have full information on the required dungeons. That's actually great to have this early in the scene. So it looks like Swamp, Ice, and T-Rock are pendants. Everything else is a crystal.
Yeah, and I don't know if either of our runners actually have the full information yet, that they've looked at their maps and realized it, but I know between the two of them, we, as viewers, do have that information. I don't think Runner Watcher has done a Dark World map check, but as soon as he does, he will, I believe, have the full information.
And yes, there's a race being talked about in chat where the go mode item was a sword. And if you haven't...
Yeah, and Runner Watcher probably actually pretty happy to get, I think, 5 or 6 small magic pots during the digging game. So restocking his ammunition with that half magic fire rod. Although he does have the boots, so he could have gotten that refill right away here anyway. I'm not used to early boots anymore, so I kind of forget about it.
That's what I said when in my race. I ended up getting early boots myself, and I just didn't know what to do with them. I haven't had boots that early in the season so long that I was just like lost in parts of it.
So Runner Watcher is electing to go to Skullwoods first. Hopefully, I'm sure he's hoping to find a sword here.
Yeah, because it's interesting. They've got the big key to 2 dungeons. But, well, they do have hammer. They could...
Yep, so WeityWords does pick up his hammer a little bit behind Runner Watcher and Dark World Access. He did have a couple extra dips. Oh, Runner Watcher with the sword in Skullwood, so he will be able to finish this if he elects to.
With half magic fire rod and like 9.
Yeah, it's not the easiest fight with Green Mail. Mothula can definitely give you some awful patterns sometimes, but that half magic and fire rod should be enough to let him complete it successfully. And WeightyWords, unfortunately, getting stuck in the wall. He has to save and quit to get out of it. That's just, yeah, those boots can glitch you a little bit sometimes.
Alright, correct. So where's the next sword gonna be?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Having to mess with you because you even called Sword and Skullwoods. We're gonna see how much you call by the end of this race.
All right, so we have 7 hearts, and I think we'll have 12 shots with the fire rod based on how much magic he has. So it should be pretty manageable. But again, Moth can give you some pretty awful patterns sometimes. But he gets him down right away, just gets a piece of heart, but he does collect his first crystal.
So his routing's actually really nice. I wonder if he's gonna do a ped check already.
Yeah, I see no reason not to. He knows that he has that ice rod out there. It would be nice to know if that's going to be required because he already has that castle tower key.
And everybody get your pedestal hype together. Do we have a ped seed?
Oh no.
It is a sword upgrade.
So that's very interesting. That's one of our swords. So it's possible that that could be required if the other swords are locked on the tablets. We'll have to see what happens as this seed unfolds.
Yes, ped is almost dead, but we still have a slight Aghanim 1 chance too. I think I'm gonna call it now. I'm gonna call Trinex holding something.
I mean, it certainly wouldn't be unheard of for Pendant Trinex to be holding a required progression item. We only have one of the small keys at this point and a whole host of access items missing, so it's not yet in play, but it could be before we know it.
I mean, the only well, I guess, yeah, they're missing Medallion and Kane.
Yeah, and they also need the mitts.
Yeah, we're gonna find the mitts somewhere in this run. I mean, the mitts are required. Kane's required because Myers required. I think it really just comes down to the keys and the medallion.
Hey, you got your own here. There's a King of Samaria in Graveyard Ledge.
And that is Kane. Yes, Chad, if only Ryu were here to do his infamous, that's got to be Kane. Well,
And Pedestal Dream dead. There is a sword in King's Tomb, so we have a Master Sword, and no need to go get the pedestal for that sword.
now what this does do, though, is this very well may be a Master Sword max seed. They may never find Tempered now.
Yeah, that's very possible. They don't need another sword. I mean, obviously everybody prefers Tempered to Master, but at this point, they have a sword that is sufficient to beat the game with.
I'm wondering if the game's going to make them do Master Sword silverless.
Yeah, it's very, very possible that the silvers are in a place that they'll never get to, so we'll have to see. But that is a very convenient spot to find the flute, especially when you're already menued to the mirror. And runnerwatcher was thinking about going for the last check in Village of Outcasts, realized he already had the mirror on his menu, and said, well, let's just do this now.
Sorry, had to observe the moment of silence there for the Swag Duck anthem.
It's a very surprised Swag Duck anthem. We went from finding the flute to having the anthem played in about 15 seconds.
So that means the only things they have left in Light World Kakariko now is just Powder and Blacksmith. They've already completed everything.
Yeah, there isn't too much reason to come back to this region of the world. A couple things with the myths, but not too much. And that is our 4th Palace of Darkness small key. So that could be a pretty good play at this point.
So if they were to find the bow, with 4 Palace of Darkness small keys, the bow, and if they also find the big key, skips, which by their records and their race times, I'm assuming they know the skips.
They do, but this seed really feels like a bow blocked by Palace of Darkness kind of seed. You got the 4 keys, but the bow's nowhere in sight, and you're running out of options. It seems like the seed's telling you to go to Palace of Darkness without the bow.
I always hate doing that, though, because that usually means you're requiring at minimum a double dip into pod, and that's never a good feeling.
Well, you can always find that bow there, so we'll have to see.
Another good half magic fire rod fight.
Yep, and WeightyWords is, following in runnerwatcher's footsteps, pretty much the exact same route. He, just because of the way the early routes worked out, he's just a few minutes behind, and he'll need to find an opportunity to let a routing decision pay off to catch up at this point. But lucky for him, we're still early in the seed. There are probably many branches that will come up as we go along here. And never mind, I called that one wrong. We have a bow in upstairs Thieves Town. Now, notably, without the small key, that isn't in logic yet, but it could be the case that the small key is in Palace of Darkness, which would basically be saving a double dip by coming here first.
Alright, well that makes me very, very happy to see, because 4 pod keys and the bow means everything.
Yeah, if they elect to go through the right side every time they want to check a chest, then they don't even need to find any more Palace of Darkness small keys. Although, if you do find one more, you can make it a lot more efficient by just going through the front door.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that too. So someone in chat asked for the explanation on why that's not in logic without a small
Sure.
key.
So in Thieves Town with the big key, the only chest that's in logic without the small key is the one that's by the maiden. The reason for that is a runner could elect to take the chest or the key that's under the pot as you're heading upstairs, and instead of using that to unlock the door to the upstairs portion, take that and go open the door to the big chest. You normally wouldn't do that, but it's certainly something you could do, and the logic is designed to prevent soft locks. And Runner Watcher getting blind down, getting the Cane of Brian, and a crystal. So making good progress here. Palace of Darkness seems like an obvious play at this point, but we'll have to see what he chooses.
So yes, I was actually kind of curious in that one too. I hadn't heard of that being out of logic without a small key. But I guess it makes sense for soft locking yourself. Like in that scenario, it makes sense. Just like pulling the desert small key out of the back half of it and going and opening right side desert.
Yep, there are several situations where the key logic in Keysanity in particular, just knowing it could help you with your routing, or at least allow you to know what is a sequence break of what. Thieves Town is a pretty big example of that. Another one is the left side of Mire. Everybody knows that you can, well, everybody that runs Rando knows that you can clear all the chests in Mire without any small keys going in. But it is possible to misuse your keys and lock yourself out of the left side unless you have all 3 small keys. So technically, the logic accounts for that and says you need all 3 small keys to get those items.
Yeah, because I know that like in certain areas, like it expects you to have 6 keys before pod. It expects you to have, 4. Like a lot of us as runners will run skips or run different scenarios than the game intends.
Yep, and Runner Watcher is clearing up some loose locations before making another dip into a dungeon. This makes sense. He doesn't have that Palace of Darkness big key, so even though that's the most obvious play at this point, getting these locations out of the way could really change his routing. And here we go. We have the Swamp Palace small key. It's a pendant, but he can full clear the dungeon, get all 10 items out of it. So it might actually be a place he decides to go prior to Palace of Darkness.
I actually like that, and I like hitting up Hera real quick while he's up here.
Yep, you can certainly expect to see a finish of Hera. We know 2 of the items are not going to progress the seed, but we still don't know what Moldorm's holding, so that could be important.
Moldorm's probably holding a mitt for no reason.
And we also have Ether Tablet.
I almost forgot, we do have enough to check tablets now. And a big 20 falls from the sky for the Ether Tablet.
So currently in Swamp Palace, he can access 10 chests, plus it is the green pendant. So 11 items available if he elects to go there first. Given how many items they still need, items and keys, and how soon in the seed Swamp Palace is available, it seems very, very unlikely that they will not be required to dip in there. So doing it before you go into a dungeon like Pod that you can't full clear would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think once he runs out some of his other options like he's doing, I would probably go straight to Swamp. Even though it's also the green pendant turn in. I mean, you can't really go wrong with it. Because, I mean, what's the worst case scenario is you go in there, you don't find a required item, you wasted time, but you've also full that you don't have to even think about anymore.
Yep, exactly. And I do want to point out, WeightyWords did elect to go to Village of Outcasts directly after Skullwoods, which means currently he's missing out on both the Cane of Samaria and the Master Sword. Hopefully he makes his way to that those North Dark World checks soon, but that could be a key skip that plays out here.
I think he heard you. It seems like he most definitely heard you. He's going straight up to the north side.
Yeah, since he already did the south route and hasn't come across the mitts, he doesn't have anything else to do to the south, so coming up here, checking Bumper Cave because he has a cape, and then mirroring for the King's Tomb and checking Graveyard Ledge, it all makes sense. Runnerwatcher is electing to go into pod. He can get 12 of the items, so it's not a bad play at all. If he uses the sequence breaks that we have talked about, the hammer yump and going through the right side instead of unlocking the front door.
So he's going to pick up his cane and immediately go pick up the
So, yep, WeightyWords' next decision here could be really important. If he goes and checks Spike Cave and gets that Swamp Small Key, it would be his first chance to diverge on routes, and it could end up paying off if he decides to go someplace different.
But I think I agree with you, though. I would have made the swamp play first. Because what if the big key to pod's in swamp? And you just caused your...
Yeah, I think you could go either way here. There are actually more items in Palace of Darkness that Runner-Watcher can get to than there are in Swamp. 12 versus 11, so that might be what he's thinking. There's still a slightly higher chance of finding the Palace of Darkness big key here, vanilla, but it's a really close call, and you can't really fault either way here. This is a check we haven't seen yet. WeightyWords taking the North Darkwood route all the way to Catfish, so this could also pay off for him. And we have Bombos bow-locked in Palace of Darkness.
Quick Fish holds a heart container. We also got the Bloomerang, too, up in the bow lock section of pod.
Yeah, but based on WeightyWords routing, I think what we're going to have here is a pyramid check and then routed right into Palace of Darkness. But it would be faster to flute anyway, I believe. So we'll have to see if he decides to do that or go back up to Death Mountain. And we do find a Turtle Rock big key in Palace of Darkness.
Hey, we're getting closer and closer, needing to go back for that ice rod. I mean, we're technically still a ways away from that, Even before they consider it, they need the medallion for it, and they need the Titan's mints. But I mean, it's still nice to have that on the back of the options for chat's trolley side.
Yeah, we could end up in a really interesting situation where the runners know that Turtle Rock probably has their last item, but they need to decide whether to go get the ice rod before they go in.
Okay, so that makes more sense. Runner Watcher just double clicked on the big chest. I think he thought he had Big Key.
Yeah, that's very well possible, and it would certainly explain why this would be a much better play, because in his mind, he might have been thinking he could full clear it.
Just to bust somebody's bubble in chat, Trinex cannot have Titan's Mints. It's required to open up T-Rock.
So Runner Watcher still has a couple more chests to check, but running out at this point.
So what's awesome about this seed to me is the fact that we are seeing that, you know, we're already items for go mode, other than, you know, maybe the Titan's Mints. Now that doesn't mark how many keys we need.
Right, we still need Eastern Palace, Desert Palace, Palace of Darkness, and Misery Mire big keys. And logically, we need the Ice Palace big key, but our runners would be able to bomb jump there to skip that.
Well, Ice Palace is a pendant. Or do they not know that? Okay, they don't know the last pendant then?
Oh, the tracker did get updated. We'll have to see. Yeah, and notably on that list of big keys, Ganon's Tower. And there's the Ice Palace big key and the Vanilla big key chest in Palace of Darkness. Okay, so there's a couple of the big keys we were missing.
Alright, so that's the only thing, though, he really found in Pod. Where would you... I guess Swamp is the next logical play.
Yeah, he doesn't have that much left besides Swamp Palace, so that is probably where he's making his way to right now.
Actually, I think he might go check Pyramid and Catfish if he hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, that's a good point. That makes more sense.
Go ahead and route both of those in while you're over here. Get them out of the way. Don't have to think about this area anymore unless you get Mushroom. We are getting down to that point where Swamp more than likely has Titan's Mitts, because that's the big piece of progression we're missing.
Yeah, if it doesn't have the Titan's Mitts directly, it blocks access to them somehow.
They could be on Bombo's tablet. I don't think we've seen a Bombo's tablet check yet.
Ooh, and Runner Watcher getting hit there by the Popo. I think that's what they're called. Anyway, but has that fairy, so is able to continue his journey here.
Also, have we seen a Stumpy and South of Grove check?
We did find those. I don't think there was anything. Both of our runners checked that after Hype Cave.
Okay, because I remember the dig game and I remember Hype Cave, but I must have looked away when they checked Stumpy in the cave.
Okay, apparently I'm being informed those are the Ropas. I think the Popos look really similar, but they have different movement and are like in the dungeons.
Yeah, it looks like he is going to make the Swamp play.
Yeah, he probably will route in Bombo's tablet first, but yeah, Swamp seems to be the play right now.
How would you feel if you went into Swamp and the pod Big Key was in Swamp?
I mean, you would be a little bit upset because you're doing it. You're putting yourself into an unnecessary double dip situation, and whenever you find out you're doing a double dip that was unnecessary, it's you're really worried, especially in a 1v1. But at the same time, you know, it's all right. At least I got an item that might be required. We're making progress for the seed. Let's just move forward.
So neither tablet was useful, and so the only use for the book was to get hook shot so far.
Yeah, and I think WeightyWords actually skipped Spike Cave after Hera, so he will have to double back up Death Mountain to get Spike Cave after finishing his clear of Palace of Darkness.
So while we're watching WeightyWords do pod, and we're waiting for runnerwatcher to get up to the first couple chests, do want to give a shout out to our runners. Make sure you give them a follow. They do an awesome job running. It's gonna be at least 5 weeks. A 8-man bracket, I believe, after that. So you'll be able to look forward to that. Also, props to our tracker again. He's been keeping up really well with both of these runners as they progress through this race. So shout outs to Walther 4. And first couple chests in Swamp hold absolutely nothing. I think both of them thought they had the big key to pod because he checked it too.
Yeah, that muscle memory is pretty strong, but it might just be I want to make sure and not do the menu. I think just checking the text box is better than checking the menu, so that could be it too. But you don't want to, walk past the chest because you don't think you have the key, and then find out later that, oh, I actually did.
Tightens the minutes off a green pendant turn in.
I mean, that's very possible right now.
Nope, big chest.
Not anymore.
I mean, we were pretty sure they were in here somewhere.
Yeah, and runnerwatcher, I expect to do a full clear. He is coming to the left side. He has 7 more items that he'll be able to get if you include the green pendant, and you're already here, so it is the reasonable play.
Yeah, so I mean, okay, if there's nothing here, you're gonna lose a little time. But if you were to leave and have to come back, and I'm this way unless I find my go mode item. If I start a dungeon, I start a dungeon with the intent to finish it, no matter.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting closer and closer to a potential go mode, but especially with that Gans Tower Big Key still at large, now is not the time to go skipping chests that are convenient.
So right now we're for sure 3 keys away from go mode. And that's not including medallion requirements or since we don't know pod or ice palace. Once we know which one's the last pendant and crystal, we have a more accurate count.
So the left side of Swamp holds a Palace of Darkness small key. That's about it, but that will allow Runner Watcher to go through the front door when he returns to finish the dungeon, if he is required to do so.
Actually, I agree with that. Shout outs to chat as well. If we didn't have a community to watch this, it wouldn't be half as fun.
Yeah, absolutely. The community around this game is just fantastic, and shout outs to chat for that. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun to commentate. A lot of fun to watch these runners just casually. It's just a great time.
These two are still trotting on each other's footsteps, but I mean, the seat's fairly linear, so. I think they'll have a couple decisions after this dungeon, though. So with Titan's Myths, you have Ice Palace open. We have Mire requirement.
Yeah, I would expect. Well, both Ice Palace and Mire are available, but because Mire is fully clearable, I would expect them to go there first, and because it's a known crystal as well, if they can get in the front door.
Yeah, but they also have Dark Death Mountain too as an option. So I mean, we could see a little bit of route divergence after this, just because of how many options there are. So for chat, as far as the sprites go, they tend to add them. Shovel from Argus.
Yeah, so given how close he is to the dig spot right now, it wouldn't surprise me if he just rats that in before following those myths. But we'll have to see. The call of Mire, the call of Ice Palace, it's all kind of strong.
Yeah, as a finish to my thought just a second ago, the sprites, they do tend to add sprites every single version upgrade. So if you're looking at a few every version update.
Oh, and we did see Quake on the island a long time ago, so this makes a lot of sense. It greatly increases your chance of being able to get into Mire. So this is routing this in before heading that way makes perfect sense.
He's not going straight for Shovel. He's going straight for Mire.
Yeah, the shovel would take him out of the path for Quake, and Quake is a known item, so it makes sense. And look, we need Quake to get into Mire, so everything working out right now.
Well, hopefully this isn't the same as what happened to me. Hopefully it's not Desert Palace Big Key under Shovel.
Okay, and there's that Thieves Town small key. So now we know that the bow is in logic, finally, and that big chest in Thieves Town will have to be in the back of a runner's mind until they hit go mode.
So how do you route in checkerboard? I always check checkerboard first before going into Mire.
It depends. If I can fully clear Mire, I would normally just go right in because otherwise you're backtracking. If you're really in a low percent situation and you could find something that would greatly improve your ability to clear mire, then it would certainly make sense to get there before. But he does have bow and master sword. Now he doesn't have silvers, doesn't have tempered, so Vitreous is a difficult fight, but it's nothing that an experienced NMG player can't handle. So I don't. It seems pretty reasonable to come right in. So WeightyWords again, just a little bit behind where runnerwatcher is based on that early backtracking not working out. This will be another opportunity for divergence, but it does seem like mire will be the play.
Like you said, at very least it's a crystal. They're going to knock off their list. I mean, I think the absolute best thing they can find in here is the Desert Palace Big Key.
Yeah, mire is always a great place to find that when you can just mirror and finish off desert when you're here.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to be able to do that so they didn't have to come back to the area at all. It's the same way with most people with Podney. And it's just a time save. Yeah, we also didn't see him turn in Green Pendant either, so that's another option that WeightyWords could take.
Yeah, I expect them to try to route that in with a return trip to the pod eastern area. WeightyWords does look to be going for Bombo's tablet. We'll have to see if he does the shovel spot, and hopefully he makes his way to get his Quake Medallion as well. Only 2 more items left in mire. Nothing greatly progressing the seed yet.
So that's 7 chests of nothing in mire so far.
Yeah, and WeightyWords is making his first check of the shovel. This is the first location he's checked before runnerwatcher in some time, so it could pay off.
Is that the Big Key to Desert? Nope, pod.
Okay, so that is a great find. It is a loose square at this point for runnerwatcher, so he'll probably check it at some point, but he does have a lot of options, such as a full clear of Ice Palace, so that could be the first thing to make WeightyWords have a leg up on runnerwatcher at this point.
And he did remember Quake on the island, so he is going to go grab that real quick.
Now, notably, he does not yet have that Eastern Palace Big Key, so it'll be interesting to see if having the pod Big Key plus the Green Pendant to turn in is enough to drive him towards that area, or if he will follow in runnerwatcher's footsteps into mire. Or taking a completely different path and going straight towards Ice Palace. Alright, so runnerwatcher needs to be careful here. He has the small eyeballs down. He has 5 arrow shots left. So he will need to finish Argus off with the sword or hammer. Oh, and taking a death. The up hitbox didn't work out there. So he'll have to come back to kill Vitreous. Yeah, you can't trust that up hitbox. Electing to put it off for later, I think this is a reasonable call. You just died. You have no arrows left. It seems like the wise decision.
No magic, but he can get magic inside the dungeon. Checkerboard Cave has nothing. Oh, he's gonna go do Dark Death Mountain, so another divergence.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell when runnerwatcher will go back for the dig spot because it really, he might try to route it in with the Smith and Purple Chest. That would probably be the best opportunity to combine multiple checks, but that seems like a lower priority than both Dark Death Mountain and Ice Palace.
I mean, it's funny because, like, normally when you're doing these checks, you're like, "Oh, I'm looking for items, for items." Right now, we're not really looking for items anymore. We're looking.
Yeah, we're really just looking for a couple keys for Go mode. That Gannon's Tower big key, Eastern Palace and Desert Palace are outstanding at this point. We also don't know. Ice Palace could be a crystal, or it could be Palace of Darkness. So it could be the case that Palace of Darkness big key is unimportant. But we do see the Eastern Palace big key here in the Super Bunny Cave. So that's a really nice find.
So now what we're gonna want is especially if this is a pendant, we're gonna want Weighty to go check Dark Death Mountain next, because if he can get that.
We do have our last medallion here in Ice Palace, so we know we can get into Turtle Rock. I don't know if we want to.
Mushroom and Hookshot as well as another key to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, so with
and there's the map of Pod.
Oh yeah, that would be great information.
Pod is the crystal. So okay, Ice is the pendant.
We know that WeightyWords is in a pendant dungeon. He has gotten the Ether Medallion, which is worthless because Turtle Rock is Bombos.
We do have a quick mushroom check coming out. What does the mushroom hold today? A piece of heart.
Yeah, so they do have access to up through from Logic up through Mimic Cave in Turtle Rock, and they could steal a key and get all the way to Laser Bridge. However, it is a pendant, and at this point, he probably feels he has better options.
So Runner's deciding to go to probably Green Pendant and then do Eastern, I'm guessing, is what he's going to do, which is kind of where the Pod big key is.
Yeah, hopefully he cleans up that check soon. WeightyWords did just find the Desert Palace small key, which does unlock 2 items. It's logically required to beat the seed, but if it's not locking anything important, runnerwatcher will not have to get it.
I mean, we're literally missing two items. Or 2 keys for the most part. I mean, if we find the Desert Palace and Gannon's Tower big keys, we're in go mode. And at this point, I mean, it's just as likely that Gannon's Tower big key is. But
Yeah, unfortunately, it does seem like this is yet another seed where the Gans Tower Big Key could end up being a troll item. But we'll have to see. WeityWords making quick work of Cold Stare. And finds the last Palace of Darkness small key. So Ice Palace is required by logic to get a couple small keys, but unless there is something on the right side of Desert that is required, our runners will not need those.
Oh, he's going straight for the pod, so both of them are going to have to revisit the area that they're in.
Yeah, it does make sense though for both of them. He knows now that Palace of Darkness is a crystal dungeon, and he can check it off the list. He can also get the green pendant turned in, so it's not a bad play at all. And if, for instance, the Eastern Palace Big Key was in Palace of Darkness, he could just finish it off right away. Unfortunately, we know it's waiting up in Super Bunny Cave.
He actually didn't. Oh, okay, he's going back. I was like, he didn't mirror to go but turning green pendant.
Yeah, probably just a case of getting caught up in your own thoughts. He did menu to the mirror, but just walked right on by.
Very nice Armos fight for a bee in a bottle.
Yep, the classic top right strats. Not any progression, but except for that nice crystal. So good fight. We'll see where runnerwatcher goes. We know he needs to get to that dig spot. And I think he's going to get there. It looks like he might be routing in the Smith sequence with the dig spot. So as long as he does it that way, he'll get that big key he's missing.
So, Big Chest and Pod was just a piece of heart. We're about to see what the Helmsar King decides to have. The problem when you get this late into the seed, though, and you get to this few items required, is you have a lot of duds that you find. It's really down to just who makes the right play.
Yeah, we know WeityWords. I guess we haven't seen the right side of Desert yet, but WeityWords has a full clear of an Ice Palace that is likely not required. But if runnerwatcher doesn't find the Gans Tower Big Key, we'll have to see if he goes in there or is able to skip that entirely. That could be a pretty big difference. We also know that runnerwatcher will have to go back and kill Vitreous at some point, and WeityWords has not yet attempted that dungeon. He might be able to get that done in one go, which would be a little bit of an advantage. And unfortunately, skipping the dig spot, hopefully he runs up and checks it. I'm not sure if it would be faster to route it in with the mirror or route it in with a second lake running up here, but we'll have to see.
I'm having a feeling the seed wants you to dip T-Rock.
Yeah, so runnerwatcher skip the dig spot is going for a full clear of Ice Palace. We know he won't find what he's looking for here. He will get that Desert Small Key, which might still be important. And Helmasaur just has a big 20, so that is not the progression we're looking for. But again, we do have a crystal, fourth crystal for WeightyWords to match runnerwatcher's 4 crystals. And I do not know how to pronounce that screen name, but thank you very much for the subscription. So WeightyWords does look to be checking the 2 chests in Desert Palace. It'd actually be a little bit faster if he routed this in with opening the front door. You can mirror right at the front door and check the 2 chests on the right with a little bit fewer screen transitions and a little bit less running, but still getting the chest checked. So we'll have to see here.
Tempered sword.
Yeah, there's our last sword, so not necessarily required, but our runners are going to be happy to get it.
Well, what that's going to do for him is that's going to make him very, very happy here in a second when he goes and does Mire.
Yeah, he'll have a much easier Vitreous fight than runnerwatcher did, and he gets the 3rd Turtle Rock small key, so, man, that Turtle Rock looking more and more likely to be required. That does put the laser bridge in logic now. If we're still missing that desert big key, we going to be in that interesting situation that I talked about a while ago, where do you go and get that ice rod before you dip Turtle Rock?
I think it depends. So we found 3 keys, right? But Trinex isn't in the logic until you hit that 4th key.
That is correct, but there are now, before you get to Trinex, 11 spots that the 4th small key could be. Actually 12, because it could be in the vanilla big key chest and you would never check it, but it could be there. So 12 locations inside of Turtle Rock where that 4th small key could be that would force you to have Trinex in logic.
I don't know what I would do then.
Yeah, it would be a really tough call. It would be a very, very difficult call. It would be a gamble either way, essentially. You could just gamble on one of the 12 locations you could check without the ice rod, having what you need, or you could gamble on the double dip.
I mean, obviously, if you can save yourself the double dip, that saves you more time. But if you do AGA 1 without it being required, you're losing about 5 minutes there anyway.
Yeah, so I think the right play would actually be to dip Turtle Rock, but again, there are a few locations they need to check out. They will have access to the Pyramid Fairy, so that is definitely something. We still haven't seen Vitreous.
I mean, I think that's best case scenario for the runners. If both the Desert Palace and GT Big Keys are at Fat Fairy, highly unlikely, but very good scenario. I mean, they're almost getting close to, if they don't find the Desert Palace Big Key, though. That's going to be the play, though, is to dip T-Rock.
Yeah, there are very few locations left that we haven't seen that the Desert Big Key could be. So we have Vitreous and we have the Pyramid Fairy, and I'm struggling to think of anything else.
Yeah, I'm looking through their counts, and I'm just like, I agree with you. I think T-Rock's going to be locking the Desert Palace big. It's really the we know that that's probably going to be locking it. The question is just what's going to be locking it, because it's whether Trinex is locking it or not. If Trinex is locking it, then that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah, exactly. So Runner Watcher will be checking the right side of Desert Palace and finishing off Vitreous, while WeightyWords is finishing off Fire and Vitreous. So our runners will be fairly close here when all is said and done. Unfortunately, Runner Watcher is doing Vitreous before checking the right side of Desert, so he'll have to go without that Tempered Sword.
Well, the other issue is he's still a little bit ahead because WeightyWords hasn't been to Dark Death Mountain and hasn't done Eastern yet.
That is true, but Runner Watcher also needs to check the dig spot and do Palace of Darkness, so
yeah,
they're going to be very, very close at this point. That death to Vitreous really did even it up a bit.
So I'm actually interested. So chat, I know a lot of our runners that run the tournament and run races are hanging around. I think the T-Rock without getting the ice rod from Lumberjack is the play, or do you think you would run and get it just in case it's needed?
Yeah, Ice Rod is on Lumberjack, and they've had access to the Ice Rod for quite a while.
Well, the reason they haven't dipped T-Rock yet is because they just now got like the second and third key recently. I wouldn't have dipped. And it's a lot more tempting.
They actually have 3 small keys. The third one was in the right side of Desert Palace.
But the reason neither one of them is marked with a 3 is Runner Watcher has not been to the right side of Desert Palace yet. Wait.
Yeah, I think the play is definitely to make the T-Rock dip without the Ice Rod, and check every single chest, including the vanilla big key location. And then just, if you have to double dip, you have to double dip. But you just don't think that would have to be required.
Well, I mean, okay, so if we're going by logic here, unless the small key is in T-Rock itself, now what would be rude of the seed is if it gave them Desert Palace big key, they checked everything. The small key is in Ganon's Tower, and the big key to Ganon's Tower is still on Trinex. Yeah,
so there's a very high probability of a vanilla Turtle Rock small key at this point. The last small key is either going to be likely in Ganon's Tower or in Turtle Rock, so we'll have to see. But I think the correct play is definitely to dip Turtle Rock, but it would not be unsurprising to have a double dip situation.
Yeah, so what chat's talking about is kind of what I was worried about. Is once WeightyWords finds the Easter Palace big key, is he still going to?
Yeah, he very well may dip without the third small key, in which case he would not be checking that vanilla big key location.
Well, I think he's about to get it because wasn't the third small key in hookshot?
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
So I think he's about to get that. That's not the issue. It's just, do you do the T-Rock dip right now, or do you go do it?
I think he might do the T-Rock dip, but yeah, looks like he's not leaving. Or nope, he was really indecisive, but now he is. So both of our runners will be getting the crystal the other one has missed out on pretty much at the same time here.
No, Runner Watcher's going to do Fat Fairy.
Yeah, runnerwatcher will do the Pyramid Fairy first before he does Eastern Palace. WeightyWords will be doing Eastern Palace and then probably doing the Pyramid Fairy.
So I'm trying to understand my mic cuts a little bit too, since I know chat keeps bringing it up for Gamer Cal. What is the, is it cutting at the end?
So unfortunately, Runner Watcher was not having a lot of success with the damage boost dashes, but he does get the bomb there to the Pyramid Fairy. And there's the end of our troll for the Desert Palace Big Key. It is here in the Pyramid Fairy, so now it's going to be between Turtle Rock and Ganon's Tower for that Ganon's Tower Big Key. Unless, of course, it's in the On Lammo or the Desert Palace Big Chest. All right, so hopefully WeightyWords makes that same play before they elect to do a Turtle Rock dip. Since they came down off the mountain with the with the Eastern Palace Big Key, it seems likely that they will clean up their last locations before going in, and if they do, they'll be rewarded with that Big Key. But yet again, it looks like we're in one of those seeds with a where is the Ganon's Tower Big Key? WeightyWords picks up his 6th crystal. Runner Watcher just a few rooms away from his. And WeightyWords making the play for the Pyramid Fairy, so our runners will be very, very close after this. really nice King Helmsaur fight from runnerwatcher, picking up his 6th crystal. WeightyWords just a couple screens away from getting that Desert Palace big key. Also seems to be having a little bit of trouble with the damage boost dashes, which allows you to dash with the bomb.
So still working on. Sorry about the little silence. Talking to chat, talking to a couple other people about this mic cutting out. I want to get it fixed as much as chat does, and I appreciate your guys' feedback. Right now, let me know if you still hear it. I'm on voice activation for the moment. I just want to test to see if it's just push to dock in Discord. Alright, so possibly the dip into T-Rock then is just a bait?
It looks that way, but it's also going to be 12 items that could, or actually 13 if you count Mimic Cave, that could easily be that Ganon Tower big key. So I wouldn't say that we've completely counted out Turtle Rock yet.
Okay, and I appreciate you guys helping out with the feedback. Thanks, chat. But yeah, I'd be kind of worried about it. I still think I would do GT first, though.
Yeah, they're actually pretty even plays. I think I was in the exact same situation in my first tournament race, and I did do the Ganon Tower basement first, and it did end up being on Laser Bridge. So I think most people would do Ganon Tower first. And the reason why I say they're even, there are a lot of item locations, but there is some pre-fill of items, of junk items in Ganon Tower, so it does kind of even it up between the two.
Yeah, so that's the only good news, like what Fatalis just said. At least it's Turtle Rock. Now, the only issue, Fatalis, that we see is if the GT Big Key happens to be in that really low percent of being on Trinex, they would have to reclimb because they would have to go get the Ice Rod out of Lumberjack Cave. But that is such a low percentage at this point that it's sort of on the almost impossible end, but you know, it's key.
Yeah, it is fairly low percent probability. There are 2 other locations. One just opened up. That is the Magic Bat. And the other one that we haven't seen yet is the Thieves Town Big Chest.
Yeah. So that's what? We've got 22 items in Ganon's Tower, right?
There are, 22 locations where a big key could be.
Okay. So 22 plus the 2, so we got 24 locations that are not in T-Rock. Plus the additional 11, it's what, 11 in T-Rock, or 9 or something like that you can check without Trinex?
There are 11 locations you can check without Trinex, plus the Mimic Cave.
Okay, so another 12 locations on top of that. So we're looking at 36 locations. So it would be a 1 in 37 chance of it being on Trinex.
Yeah, there is one more fetch quest that's outstanding, which is the Skull Woods Big Key, so that could also throw a wrench in the plans here.
I mean, still, we're looking at like almost 1 in 40 shot of it being on Trinex. So, I mean, our odds of that happening is super, super low.
Yeah, and our runners are like essentially in sync right now. They've done the exact same checks, and they're both fluting at the same time.
And they're both choosing to go straight to Ganon's Tower. I don't know. Powder is a very quick check.
Yeah, both of them skipping back cave. It doesn't necessarily surprise me, but it is an interesting skip. So Runner Watcher got so had to start with the Dead Rocks on his way on the bottom, and now WeightyWords is having a little bit of trouble on top here.
I mean, technically, if you guys want to guess if the big key is in GT, since we don't have GT big key, you guys can. Nobody's stopping you. Normally, you would not have a guessing game. The reason that we say we normally don't have a guessing game is because usually they already have GT big key.
Yeah, so at the start, I thought this would be a really close, exciting race, and here we have Sync Ganon's Tower openings with the exact same checks, the exact same items. Man, this is exciting.
Yes, and zero is usually the number we say call if you don't think it's going to be in GT. But the odds are for GT. I mean, we said it's about 40 item checks that are not.
Oh, there's another fetch quest I forgot about, the Hera Basement.
Yeah, so we if they find that, we will be at 40 different item locations that they could check.
Yeah, and they would definitely check that after Turtle Rock if they don't find it here. They're not going to, even though it's right on the same screen, if you mirror, they're going to go to Turtle Rock first.
Both of them skip Tower Room and are both going right side.
So we find the mirror shield, but nothing else exciting over here.
The sync in this race is kind of crazy at this point. I mean, Runner Watcher's like maybe just a couple seconds ahead. Now he's a couple more seconds ahead because that Stalfos is being annoying.
Yeah, at this point, you know, if the GT Big Key is in here, it's going to be an execution race. If it's not, then it's going to get back to routing choices. Yep, so we have Rando Room, we have Bob's chest, and we have the chest behind Ice Armos, and last but not least, that tile room.
Man, you know, I'm kind of hoping it's in here just because of how close this is. But in a way, I'm kind of hoping it's not either, because I would like to see their decisions if it's not in here. I'm pretty sure we're both in agreement that the next move would be them both going to T-Rock.
Yeah, that's 100% the next move. I mean, I would be very, very surprised if either one would make a different play if they don't find the big key in here.
But do you follow some of the fetch quest breadcrumbs, though?
Yeah, I mean, that would be the gamble. Following a fetch quest before going to Turtle Rock would be the ultimate gamble.
I guess it really depends if you think you're ahead, behind, or how close you think you are to your opponent.
Oh no.
Oh, that's bad. Okay,
well, it's just a compass.
But he's gonna have to go back and check it though. There's no way he's gonna leave that chest, right?
I think he's leaving that till the end. It takes way too long to check one chest. It's worse than Hera Basement at this point. So we have tile room left, and that's about it.
They did get red mail though, so that's at least nice.
Okay, Runner Watcher is checking the chest. This is a way to get back to it that's quicker than rechecking the entire basement, but it does take some time, and now WeightyWords has jumped into the lead here.
And we're gonna have the cape. Yep. I like this. I didn't even know this was possible until recently, and that's just probably because I'm a newer casual runner. I didn't know about the whole gripping the wall with the cape giving you infinite magic, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't think it was that widely known until recently, but now it seems like everybody does it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the 22nd chest in here. If it's not in here, that means it's one of the 18 locations that are outside of GT.
Yeah, and that's it. So now it's decision time, and the decision is almost certainly Turtle Rock.
Oh, he might be making the Tower of Hera play.
Oh wow, this is a gamble.
I mean, I think I would do this definitely if I feel I might be behind. Let's see what Runner Watcher does. If Runner Watcher does the same thing, this is just gonna be fun.
Oh wow.
They're still not done stepping on each other's toes and reading each other's minds. I think Elminster's against this decision. He just said no in caps. This is the second sync tile room in a very short amount of time.
Wow. This is amazing. That was unexpected.
Wow. So T-Rock was just a red herring.
So it's very fortunate that both of our runners made the exact same play.
So this is going to come down to GT execution, but WeightyWords has got the small advantage. And who did you say won the daily between these two?
WeightyWords was in first place in a 36-person daily with Runner Watcher in second. But Runner Watcher has some very, very excellent NMG execution. And they're essentially, I mean, they have a few more hearts and a better mail, but they have, no silvers, tempered sword. This is NMG, very close to NMG Ganos Tower Climb.
Now, because you don't have silvers and there was so few chests left in the game, do you check the ones at the top of the tower just in case?
I think you probably do. Although, if I was here right now with all those Turtle Rock red herrings, I'd be thinking, okay, the seed put those silvers in Turtle Rock, and I'd just be wasting my time.
Because how much time do you actually lose by opening the chest? Maybe 10 seconds in total for all four? And that's probably, and I'm doing 10 seconds because maybe one or two of them may have a text box.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect them to check them, but I don't expect to see silvers here. But we'll have to see. I mean, it very well could be.
Because I think if silvers are found, then WeightyWords definitely has the major advantage because it goes back off of MMG and just is a more pure Ganon fight.
I mean, honestly, I think both runners probably feel really good about their positioning right now because not everybody would have done that Hera basement check. So the fact that they did that first after Ganon's Tower, it tells them that not only was the Ganon's Tower double dip required, but they did the correct first check after that. They have to feel fairly good about where they're at.
Yeah, but you're almost at the 2 hour mark and nobody's done yet. Which is always a scary scenario, especially between two good runners.
Oh, for sure. I think right now the last decision they made turned out to be the correct one, the one that turned out correct. So if you're doing that, you're executing this. You're feeling good about your last decision. You're a couple rooms away. You're nervous, but you're probably glad that you didn't go to Turtle Rock.
Okay, so he skipped the chests. Oh no! Oh, okay. He still had the reach. I thought he ran out of magic right before him. Now he is checking the chests. Hey, there's the Trinex key to Turtle Rock. Runner Watcher lost a little more time there and some more room. He's now about 2 full rooms behind. That was a very, very quick Moldorm too, though.
Yeah, I get 2 execution will come down to, and Ganon execution. Now, Runner Watcher has very good Ganon execution with this equipment, but we saw WeightyWords practicing before the race started, and he was getting 1-1 on the first 2 phases. So, WeightyWords does have an advantage here, and he'll have to slip up for Runner Watcher to catch up.
Either that, or we see like a triple right here. If we see something like a triple on Aga 2, it could be great. There's the first triple. Can he go back to back? Nope. Triple single. Oh, single because of the blue balls. And I think that's the same amount of times it took WeightyWords to get through that.
Yeah, and a few bonks there from frustration.
That was probably his best chance to make up time right there.
Really nice first cycle from WeightyWords. Gets a 1 cycle. Looks to be another 1 cycle here, so a 1-1 from WeightyWords on Ganon.
And now it just comes down to hitting all your spin attacks. And not falling.
And Runner Watcher doing the same.
It looks like Runner Watcher is going to get a 1-1 as well. This is so close. Hey, what did you call Arrows and T-Rock?
Yeah, that's where they are.
How many spins is he ahead?
And this is really great game execution from both. I don't even know.
I've lost count of what hits they're on.
And WeightyWords has done it. And runnerwatcher right
Wow, two hits behind. He made up enough time that he was only 2 hits behind there.
GG to both of our runners.
All right, so official times for both. We'll give you guys this because this is insane. All right, so WeightyWords did finish in first with a time of 2:01:06. runnerwatcher finished with a time of 2:01:13, 7 seconds apart.
Wow, that was an incredible race. Sync entering Ganon's tower, Sync in Hera basement to get the GT big key. It's you could have asked for a better race from these runners. It's the kind of race that it's a shame somebody has to lose because that was just fantastic.
Yep, and actually that is true. The stall that he had on the bob chest that cost him that race. That's true too. Checking the last 4 chests as well as the falling at Bob before checking the chest.
I mean, there are in any given race there are places where you lose time. Like runnerwatcher's biggest time loss was dying to Vitreous, and if that didn't happen, he would have finished 3 minutes ago. So there are all sorts of places where you can save time in a run. But yeah, you can drive yourself crazy looking back and, oh, if I only didn't do this and didn't do that or did this first, like it was a great race. Both runner, like it's just unfortunate that it just came down to 7 seconds.
Yep. So for those asking about the interviews, the WeightyWords is coming in. runnerwatcher has declined. So GG's to runnerwatcher. Wish him well in his next race. And please follow our runners because they did give you a really good show there at the end. I mean, you can't ask for more than pretty much a photo finish. And we do have WeightyWords joining us. GG, WeightyWords.
GG. Oh my god, Oh my god. I can't believe the race was that close.
Yeah, it was a very exciting finish. Both of you entered Ganon's tower at the same time. You did the checks at about the same time. You both elected to do Hera basement before doing any other checks after Ganon's tower. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, at that point, I'd kind of gambled that T-Rock would have nothing, so I kind of wanted to hope that it was that Tower Hera key that I already found in GT at that point.
Yeah, so the difference in the tower run, he ended up 2 spin slashes behind you. He finished 2 spin slashes after you did. But
oh my god.
The big difference, he checked the 4 chests in the upper gauntlet for the silvers.
Oh, that would be about the difference that we had. Wow.
Yeah, you guys were super neck and neck. You kind of got to go back and watch the VOD because you guys were kind of literally on each other's heels the entire race.
Yeah, this is definitely one I'm going to watch.
But 3-0, congratulations.
Thank you.
Still undefeated.
I never thought I'd actually be in this place, but I'm glad.
And what, 2 more rounds? If you last 2 more rounds, then you're automatically in the brackets.
It's crazy to think about it. I came into this tournament just like, I really like competing. I didn't really like Keysanity before this tournament, but once I started doing a bunch of runs, I'm like warming up to it a lot more.
So were there any highlights from this seed that you wanted to point out? Any interesting sequences that made you laugh or anything like that?
Probably the Dark World access. That was kind of the most convoluted Dark World access I've ever seen. Oh man, it was what it was like to go to Tarahera to get Cape, get flippers from Aga, to get a Castle Tower key somewhere. I don't remember. Oh, to get the book from Zora Ledge, to get the hook shot, to get the Castle Tower key, to get the hammer. Oh man.
Yeah, the logic in Keysanity can be fun to try to hammer out, so to say.
Yeah. I was really worried about Turtle Rock just because like that ice rod was on Lumberjack and we had Lumberjack access so early.
Yeah, there was a time when you guys were both looking for that Desert Palace big key where it was really a question as to whether how would you handle Turtle Rock at that point?
Yeah, and from my thinking, I didn't actually find the 4th Turtle Rock key, so I was thinking that Trinex doesn't. I was gonna kind of like looking for that 4th key, hoping that it was in GT or something, so that I know that Trinex wasn't required.
It actually was in GT. It was in the upper.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. So, all right. But yeah, that was my hope.
I made the same comment to Korek, I believe. I was telling him that I don't believe, like we were talking about whether you guys should have went and did Aga, should have went and did T-Rock, and I made that same comment. I was like, well, unless they find the 4th T-Rock key, I don't see any point in going and doing Aga anyways.
Yeah, that was pretty much my train of thought.
Yeah, I think that was the consensus the chat and everybody agreed on. But it certainly is an interesting thing to see that ice rod there and have Turtle Rock looming on you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that required double dip into Castle Tower for Dark World access.
And not even killing Aga either.
But wouldn't that have been worse to have to triple dip it later?
Yeah,
to get
that's
the ice true.
Rod? That's true. Guess you could have triple dipped it if you wanted the butter sword on Ped.
I think you guys did have fantastic times though for what that seed wanted you to do.
Yeah, I mean, it pretty much was 100% other than Turtle Rock. I guess the things that I'd left were like Thieves Town, Big Chest, and the Smith sequence. Kind of the only things that I can think about that I missed.
Oh, how about the looking at your credits here, the 103 Pegasus boots and the 4-second mirror?
The start was great until we had to find the hammer. I don't think I've had like that late of a Dark World access ever before. Without killing Aghanim. Yeah, I definitely felt behind because I checked Aghanim's cave before dipping into Castle Tower, so I had to kind of double back into the desert area, so I felt a little behind there.
Any other thoughts on the seed or anything else you want to say?
Yeah, it was a pretty good seed. There weren't too many super big trolls, but I mean, Keysanity, you're expecting some weird double dips and things to happen, so I enjoyed it. But I'm glad the race was close, and I hope everybody enjoyed that. That's awesome that it was that close.
Oh yeah, you guys, like we said, were on each other's heels. It was actually an awesome race. We enjoyed watching every minute of it.
Yeah, so one last reminder, Chad, if you like what you saw, and I don't know how you couldn't, go ahead and give these runners a follow. They did a great job today, put on a great show. I want to say thank you to our tracker, Walter. Did an amazing job for us today. Thank you to my co-commentator, IB Karma. Thanks to Feasel for the restream, and thanks to all of you out there watching this morning. It was a great time. I'm just happy to be here.
Yep, wholeheartedly agree. Again, awesome community. Come join us. Come talk to us. We're more than happy to help. I'm sure most people are more than happy to give you advice if you want advice on how to run the game or anything of that nature. Any last words from anybody?
Have a happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Definitely. Have a happy Valentine's Day. Anything else, Correct?
Nope, just see you next time, and thanks for watching.